Emily Parker, a 13-year-old girl at Lincoln Middle School, found herself at the center of a storm she never expected. It began innocuously enough during a literature class when Mrs. Thompson asked the students to write about someone they admired. Emily, eyes bright with pride, chose to write about her mother, Lieutenant Commander Sarah Parker, a decorated Navy SEAL whose covert missions were known to only a handful of people. Emily's essay was heartfelt and vivid, describing her mother's courage, discipline, and the sacrifices she made for her country. But when Emily read her essay aloud to the class, the atmosphere shifted. Her classmates exchanged skeptical glances and whispered behind cupped hands. A few snickers erupted, and soon the laughter grew louder, cutting through the classroom like a cold wind. Aiden Clark, the class bully and son of the school principal, was the loudest. "Yeah, right?" he scoffed, eyes narrowing. "Your mom's a Navy SEAL? That's the funniest thing I've heard all day. No way she's out there jumping out of planes or sneaking into enemy bases. You're just making it up." Emily's cheeks flushed crimson, but she refused to back down. "She is," she insisted, voice trembling but resolute. "She's trained harder than anyone I know. She's been away on missions that no one talks about. She's real, and so is her work." The room quieted momentarily as her words hung in the air, but the doubt lingered like a shadow. The teasing didn't stop after class. In the hallways, whispers followed her like a persistent echo. "Navy SEAL's daughter? More like a storyteller," a boy muttered as he passed. Some students outright laughed, while others avoided her gaze, unsure what to believe. Emily felt the weight of isolation settle on her shoulders, heavier with each passing day. Mrs. Thompson noticed the change immediately. The once lively and engaged student became withdrawn, her usual spark dimmed by the cruelty of disbelief. After class one afternoon, Mrs. Thompson approached Emily gently. "Emily, can we talk?" she asked, guiding her to a quiet corner of the library. "You know I believe your story about your mother, but some of your classmates don't. It's hard for them to understand." Emily nodded, tears brimming but held back by sheer will. "I just want them to believe me. It's not a story. My mom really is a Navy SEAL. She's trained me in some of what she knows, and I've seen the medals she's earned." She pulled the worn locket from around her neck, a gift from her mother, engraved with the Navy SEAL trident emblem. "I wish I could show them, but she can't talk about her missions." The teacher's heart ached for Emily, knowing the burden she carried. "Maybe we can find a way to help them understand," Mrs. Thompson suggested, though she wasn't sure how. "For now, keep being true to yourself. That's what matters." Word of Emily's claims spread beyond the classroom, reaching the ears of the school's administration. The principal, Mr. Clark, was less sympathetic. Having heard rumors from his son, Aiden, he dismissed Emily's story as a fabrication designed to gain attention. Mr. Clark privately instructed the school counselor, Ms. Reynolds, to monitor Emily closely, concerned about the possibility of fantasy or delusion. Meanwhile, Emily's mother, Sarah Parker, was stationed overseas on a classified mission. The secrecy surrounding her role meant she could not intervene or even communicate freely to defend her daughter's truth. However, she recalled the moments she had shared with Emily during rare homecomings, teaching her basic survival skills, instilling resilience, and passing down the values of honor and courage. Those memories were Emily's anchor in the storm. Back at school, the pressure mounted. During lunch breaks, Emily often ate alone, the cafeteria's noisy chatter a stark contrast to the silence that enveloped her table. The once close friendships she had enjoyed seemed to evaporate, replaced by suspicion and exclusion. Emily's heart ached not only for acceptance but for the simple truth to be acknowledged. One afternoon, as Emily walked to her locker, she overheard a group of students debating. "I don't buy it," one said. "If her mom really was a Navy SEAL, why wouldn't the school support her? They'd be proud, right?" Another shrugged. "Maybe it's all lies. Maybe she just wants to be special." Emily clenched her fists, the sting of betrayal cutting deep. She questioned whether her mother's silence was a shield or a barrier, protecting secrets but also isolating her. Yet, despite the loneliness, She resolved to hold onto her truth. During a school assembly that week, Mrs. Thompson took the opportunity to address the student body. "We've been discussing stories of courage and heroism," she began, eyes scanning the room. "Sometimes, the bravest among us are those who serve quietly, without recognition. We must remember to respect each other's truths, even when they seem unbelievable." Her words offered a brief respite, a small beacon of hope amid the growing storm. Emily felt a flicker of courage rekindled within her, knowing that not everyone doubted her. As days passed, the conflict escalated when the school board announced it would review Emily's case, questioning whether her assertions were truthful or a cause for concern regarding her mental well-being. Psychologist Dr. Amanda Sheffield was assigned to evaluate Emily, tasked with determining if her claims stemmed from a healthy imagination or something more troubling. Emily's world narrowed to whispered conversations, scrutinizing eyes, and the looming specter of disbelief. Yet, beneath it all, she clung fiercely to the reality of her mother's service, drawing strength from memories and the unbreakable bond they shared. In the quiet moments before class, Emily often confided in her best friend, Mia, who remained one of the few steadfast allies. "It's hard," Emily admitted one afternoon, voice barely above a whisper. "I just want to be believed. Not for me, but for Mom. She's out there doing something incredible, and no one sees it." Mia reached out, squeezing Emily's hand. "I believe you, and I'm here always." Despite the mounting pressure, Emily's resolve hardened. She was determined to stand firm, to fight for her mother's honor and for her own dignity. The battle was just beginning, but Emily's spirit was unyielding, fueled by love and truth. Unknown to Emily, her story was about to draw attention far beyond the classroom walls. Attention that would challenge the skepticism of those around her and reveal the extraordinary reality behind her words. But for now, in the halls of Lincoln Middle School, Emily Parker faced the daunting challenge of being seen and believed in a world quick to dismiss what it cannot understand. The days that followed only deepened the rift between Emily Parker and her classmates. The teasing evolved into outright bullying, whispers turning into pointed comments and cold stares. Emily found herself shrinking beneath the weight of disbelief, the isolation pressing in from all sides. She no longer looked forward to school with the same enthusiasm. Each day was a test of endurance. Mrs. Thompson, noticing the growing toll, reached out to Emily's mother through a careful, confidential message. It was a delicate balance. Sarah Parker's identity was classified, and revealing too much could jeopardize ongoing operations. Still, Mrs. Thompson believed that if someone could lend credibility to Emily's story, it would be her mother. When Sarah received the message, she was thousands of miles away, deep into a mission that demanded every ounce of her focus and secrecy. Yet her heart ached for her daughter. She knew the pain Emily faced, the loneliness that came with carrying a truth so extraordinary it seemed impossible to believe. Although direct contact was impossible, Sarah began to formulate a plan, something to bridge the gap between Emily's reality and the skeptical world she faced. Back at Lincoln Middle School, the tension was palpable. The school announced a special event, a parachuting demonstration to take place during the upcoming assembly. The announcement sparked excitement among the students, many anticipating a thrilling show. But for Emily, it stirred a complicated mix of hope and anxiety. Could this event become the moment her truth was finally recognized? Or would it be yet another stage for ridicule? Meanwhile, Mr. Reynolds, Emily's supportive English teacher, took it upon himself to advocate for her. He reached out to the school counselor, Ms. Reynolds, urging her to approach the evaluation with sensitivity and an open mind. "Emily's story isn't just a fantasy," he insisted. "There's something real here, and we owe it to her to understand." Ms. Reynolds agreed to observe Emily closely, but remained cautious. She scheduled a series of sessions with Emily, aiming to assess her mental state and the authenticity of her claims. During these meetings, Emily spoke with a mixture of vulnerability and fierce conviction. She recounted memories of her mother's rare visits home, the lessons learned in survival skills, and the deep pride she felt. "I know it sounds unbelievable," Emily said softly during one session, "but it's the truth. My mom can't tell people what she does because it's secret. But she's real. She's a Navy SEAL. Ms. Reynolds listened intently, noting the sincerity in Emily's voice. Though trained to approach such cases clinically, she found herself questioning the assumptions others had made about Emily's story. As the day of the parachuting demonstration approached, anticipation grew. The school gymnasium was decorated with patriotic banners, and parents were invited to attend. Emily's classmates buzzed with excitement, their earlier skepticism momentarily replaced by curiosity. On the morning of the assembly, Emily sat nervously in the front row, her heart pounding. She glanced around at the sea of faces, some doubtful, others intrigued. She wished her mother could be there, to silence the whispers and prove her story beyond doubt. Suddenly, a distant roar filled the air, growing louder by the second. Heads turned toward the gymnasium entrance as the ceiling panels rattled with the sound of helicopters approaching. The crowd murmured in surprise and confusion. Then, with breathtaking precision, a figure descended from above, parachuting gracefully onto the school field. Gasps echoed through the room as a woman in full tactical gear landed expertly, the Navy SEAL trident emblem gleaming on her uniform. It was Lieutenant Commander Sarah Parker. The room fell silent, eyes wide with astonishment. Emily's classmates stared in disbelief, their skepticism shattered by the undeniable reality standing before them. Sarah approached the podium, her presence commanding respect and awe. "I am Lieutenant Commander Sarah Parker," she announced clearly, voice steady and authoritative. "I serve our country in ways that require secrecy. But today, I want to stand here and support my daughter, Emily. Her story is true." Aiden Clark, the former bully, stood frozen, his earlier taunts replaced by stunned silence. Even Principal Clark struggled to find words, his previous doubts now confronted by irrefutable proof. Sarah continued, presenting documents and medals, her credentials undeniable. She spoke briefly about the sacrifices made by military families, the challenges of living in the shadows, and the importance of truth and support. The atmosphere shifted dramatically. What had been a battleground of disbelief transformed into a space of respect and admiration. Applause filled the gymnasium as Sarah concluded her address, the community united in recognition of Emily's courage and her mother's service. In the days that followed, the school underwent a profound transformation. The administration issued a formal apology to Emily for the doubt and isolation she had endured. A support group for children of service members was established, providing a safe space for sharing experiences and fostering understanding. Emily herself blossomed in the new environment. The confidence that had been suppressed returned tenfold, and she embraced her unique background with pride. She became an advocate within the school, speaking openly about the challenges faced by military families and the importance of empathy. Her relationship with Mrs. Thompson and Mr. Reynolds deepened, their support unwavering. Emily found strength not only in her mother's extraordinary example, but also in the community that had come to accept and celebrate her truth. Outside the school, the story of Emily Parker and her mother's dramatic entrance captured regional media attention, sparking conversations about the experiences of military children and the need for greater awareness in educational settings. Though Sarah Parker remained bound by the demands of her classified work, her presence at the assembly had forged a bridge between two worlds, one of covert operations and one of adolescent struggles. Emily carried that connection forward, a living testament to resilience and the power of belief. As Emily prepared to return to her studies, she understood that the journey ahead would still have challenges, but she was no longer alone. With her mother's support and a community that now saw her for who she truly was, Emily's story was no longer a secret whispered in shadows. It was a beacon of courage illuminating the path forward. The moment Lieutenant Commander Sarah Parker parachuted onto the school grounds shifted everything at Lincoln Middle School. The once skeptical and mocking students now faced the undeniable truth standing before them. A decorated Navy SEAL, mother to the girl they had ridiculed. The gymnasium erupted in applause, a wave of respect and admiration washing over the crowd. Emily Parker, seated near the front, felt a surge of relief and pride as her mother approached the stage. In the days that followed, the atmosphere at school transformed completely. The principal, Mr. Clark, who had previously dismissed Emily's claims, issued a public apology during a morning assembly. "We owe Emily an apology," he said, voice steady but sincere. "We let skepticism overshadow respect, and that was wrong. Military families make sacrifices we may never fully understand, and it's our duty to support them." Emily's classmates, some still processing the dramatic revelation, approached her with newfound respect. Aidan Clark, who had been her harshest critic, was among the first to offer a tentative apology. "I was wrong, Emily," he admitted quietly one afternoon in the hallway. "I didn't believe you because it sounded too incredible. But now I see how brave you and your mom really are." Though still awkward, the apologies marked a turning point. Emily found herself reintegrated into the social fabric of the school, no longer an outcast but someone whose story inspired others. The cafeteria was no longer a place of isolation. Friends gathered around her table, eager to listen and learn. Recognizing the unique challenges faced by children of service members, the school established a support group to provide a safe environment for students like Emily. The group, led by Mrs. Thompson and the school counselor Ms. Reynolds, met weekly to discuss experiences, share stories, and build a community of understanding. Emily took an active role in the group, her confidence blossoming as she realized she was not alone. She shared the difficulties of living with a parent in a secretive and demanding profession, the loneliness, the uncertainty, and the pride that came with such a life. Her voice, once timid and uncertain, now carried strength and clarity. Outside of school, Emily's story captured the attention of local media, shining a spotlight on the often unseen sacrifices of military families. Interviews and features followed, and Emily was invited to speak at community events, advocating for awareness and support. Her message was clear: military children deserve understanding, respect, and a place where their unique experiences are valued. Emily's relationship with her mother deepened as well. When Sarah was home between deployments, their time together became precious and purposeful. Sarah continued to teach Emily skills and values that went beyond military training: resilience, integrity, and the importance of standing up for one's truth. Those moments fortified Emily's spirit and prepared her for the challenges ahead. At school, Emily's teachers noticed a remarkable change. Her grades improved, her participation increased, and she began to take on leadership roles in extracurricular activities. The once shy girl who had endured ridicule now stood as a role model, embodying courage and authenticity. One afternoon, as Emily prepared for a speech at the school's annual Veterans Day event, Mrs. Thompson approached her with a proud smile. "You've come so far, Emily. Your story has touched so many lives." Emily nodded, a mixture of humility and determination in her eyes. "I just want other kids like me to know they're not alone, that their stories matter." The thematic core of Emily's journey was becoming clear. Courage isn't just about heroic deeds in the field, but about standing firm in the face of doubt and adversity. Her experience underscored the power of belief, not only in oneself but in others, and the transformative impact of empathy and acceptance within a community. As the Veterans Day event commenced, Emily stepped onto the stage, her heart steady and her voice strong. She spoke about the sacrifices made by military families, the importance of support and understanding, and the strength found in embracing one's unique story. Her words resonated deeply with the audience, inspiring reflection and connection. Through her advocacy, Emily helped foster a culture of inclusion at Lincoln Middle School and beyond. Policies were implemented to better support military families, and educational programs were introduced to raise awareness among students and staff. Emily's personal journey had catalyzed meaningful change, ensuring that others would not face the same challenges of disbelief and isolation. In the quiet moments between her schoolwork and advocacy efforts, Emily often reflected on how far she had come. The road had been difficult, marked by pain and uncertainty, but it had also been illuminated by love, resilience, and unwavering truth. She understood that her story was bigger than herself. It was a beacon for those who struggled in silence. Emily's experience transcended local boundaries, influencing conversations at district and state levels. Invitations to speak at conferences and forums became opportunities to shape policies that recognized the unique needs of military children nationwide. Her voice, once drowned out by doubt, now carried the weight of lived experience and the promise of hope. Through it all, Emily remained grounded by the lessons her mother had imparted. Sarah's unwavering dedication, despite the demands of a classified military career, had taught Emily that courage was not just an act but a way of life. Their bond, forged in secrecy and strength, was a source of endless inspiration. As the school year progressed, Emily continued to grow, not just as a student or advocate, but as a leader who embodied resilience and authenticity. Her journey highlighted the profound impact one individual could have on systemic change, proving that standing up for one's truth could reshape perceptions and foster empathy. Emily Parker's story was no longer one of isolation or disbelief. It had become a testament to the power of courage, belief, and acceptance. A legacy that would endure in the hearts of those she touched and in the policies that would protect future generations. With each step forward, Emily carried the spirit of her mother's sacrifice and the strength of a community transformed. Her journey was a reminder that truth, when met with courage and compassion, could illuminate even the darkest corners and create lasting change for countless others.